is Kelly Goslin. I am this summer's archivist at the Anglican Diocese of Ontario, and I'm here to present to you the Archives Showcase. As we're in the depths of the summer now, we're really amazed by the flora and the fauna that are just thriving in the warmth of this season. Can only imagine how it must have been during the exploration and discovery of the New World. When European settlers first arrived here and embarked on their adventures to uncover a new land, they must have just been struck by just the sheer unfamiliarity and extensiveness of the nature around them. The Indigenous peoples of Canada and the United States had, of course, developed an intimate knowledge of all of the nature around them over the course of thousands of years. But for the European settlers who first arrived, the only context that they knew was their own terrain and their own topography. As a result, efforts to establish a stronger and broader knowledge of what exactly they were looking at began to dominate the scientific scene of the 17th and 18th centuries. In 1635, Jacques-Philippe Cornuty from France wrote down and documented his first observations of Canadian and American flora and fauna. This was considered the premier authority at the time throughout the remainder of the 17th century. In the 18th century, Carl Linnaeus, the very famed botanist and taxonomist, expanded off of this earlier work and combined it with his own Swedish observations to create his development of botany in the North American region. An understudied aspect of our botany, however, in its history and development, is actually the work of Pierre-Francois-Xavier de Charlevoix. Charlevoix was a Jesuit missionary and priest. Born in France, he was remembered by Voltaire at college as a quote-unquote long-winded prefect. He was known to love to tell stories. He was sent over to Canada to begin teaching, and in 1719 was tasked by the French government to try and find secretly an ocean between the New World and the Orient. The demand to create new trade routes with Asian nations became an increasingly popular phenomenon from the very beginning of the New World's establishment. As a result, he had to be very quiet and subtle in his pursuit. From 1720 to 1723, he traveled through what is now considered the Canadian Maritimes, Quebec, Ontario, Michigan, Missouri, and then down through Louisiana, the Florida Keys, and eventually the Caribbean. No, he did not find the Pacific Ocean. However, the journals that he kept documenting his journey and his observations along the way were published complete in 1744 and are now considered some of the most seminal literature in early Canadian history. We have a full copy of Charlevoix's findings from 1744. It's a first edition. However, I want to bring your attention to a very specific section of it. I have it here before me, where Charlevoix documents the flora of North America. In the 96 plates that we have here and the extensive descriptions that he's given, we have over double what was first observed in 1635. And in fact, on several different species, including oaks, he outnumbers even Carl Linnaeus' findings of 1753. We're very fortunate to have these in the archives, and we hope to share them with you for horticulture enthusiasts, gardeners, local history enthusiasts, and, of course, people who are passionate about early exploration. This is a goldmine of resources that are more than worthy a little bit of a perusal. Join us next week for our next segment of the Archives Showcase, where we'll be bringing you closer to home and looking at the development of our churches in Kingston, Ontario.